Greetings and salutations, friends. I hope you are doing well. What a day in the market. Let's get into this. So, talk about Big Bear, talk about Palantir, Soundhound. Oh my God, Soundhound's just running. And another thing, listen, well, not all, but you know, everyone's on different pages right now with Big Bear. We're going to talk about it more. I am totally shocked to see how Big Bear survived today, even getting back into a $6 position. Wow, it's still, like I said, it's a highly manipulated stock. It's still going to have a lot of volatility, a lot of movement, a lot of stuff going on with it, and you know, all the chances that something more could happen with it. But obviously, quarterlies that we saw yesterday, they were garbage, no doubt about that. Can't hide from that. Second of all, for people telling me I need to stop talking about Big Bear, I ain't never gonna stop talking about Big Bear. Why would I stop talking about Big Bear now? Like, leave people high and dry. Listen, if you've been with me talking about Big Bear since November, October, last year, I don't remember when we first started talking about Big Bear, it started off as a conversation that I had on here about, I think I was talking about another stock, and I was like, you know, I've got my toes dipped into this company called Big Bear. It's very dangerous stock to hold right now. It doesn't have a lot of strong pillars. In every conversation that I've had about Big Bear up until right now, still, I've told people it is a very dangerous stock to be a part of. It's going to be very volatile. It is. I told people, and for the people that left comments saying thank you for telling me, being honest about quarterlies, that you didn't think they were going to make it. That's why I told people. So I didn't think they were going to make quarterlies. Now, the shocking part of that is that quarterlies were worse than we expected, no doubt about it. But with where the market's at right now, with where things could be going with Big Bear, hopefully finding more business here, hopefully that's something, you know, could turn out for the better here. That's why a lot of people are still here, and still a very, very controlled stock by investors. So, of course I'm going to talk about it. It's a very interesting stock. You don't have to sit here and listen to me talk. I'm not telling anybody to buy it, for God's sakes. This is going to talk about it. You can go find somebody else talking about Home Depot stock. Good, talk about it. So here we go, friends. I hope you are doing well. I really do mean that. I hope everybody's had a good day at work, family, friends, wherever you're at with whoever you're with. Wow. So first things first, the CP, all that stuff came out today. Fed's talking inflation, tariff, how bad is it? And they were better than expected. So yesterday I warned people, I said, hey, the market might sell off today because everything, it was like, they were already setting, it was such a reverse play here because yesterday, all the headlines were like, the market's going to sell off, the reports are going to be bad, expect the worst. And they were actually better than expected. So now the market is like, okay, we're going to move on this. And we saw just a lot of stocks today run. Just a lot of the market did really good today, honestly. So with that, more than likely, I still think we're probably going to get rate cuts in September, more than likely, which is going to push up the market into, crazy numbers. And this is why Tom Lee is such an advocate right now of saying, like, he believes the S&P 500 is undervalued essentially at this point, that the S&P could end almost at 7,000, if not 7,000 points here at the end of the year going into January, if not, because these essentially a lot of these AI stocks in general are driving up massive quarterlies where, the S&P is like, actually, we need to keep rolling here because we're seeing such a heavy just continuation of quarterlies with a lot of these stocks that are just making ungodly amounts of money that we've never really seen in the market before. And now you've got new players added to that. Nvidia, you've got Palantir here. Palantir's still very much in this, just fantasy world of just like, it's just making up its own roads right now, and everybody's going, okay, here we go. It's just a bulldozer going through the forest right now. It does not care, and we're just right behind it, like, going with it. So, friends, let's go right into Big Bear. Talk about the mess that we're in right now and what's going on. And listen, I always want to be very honest when I'm talking. I do. I appreciate everyone that's here listening to me yap my gums. I really do mean that. I'm so thankful that I get to come on here and talk. I love investing so much. I just love investing. I think it's such a unique thing that we get to do as people, that we get to take our money and turn it into more money, that it's such an amazing thing to be a part of. And if you're already in the market, you're already so ahead of the general population. You really are. So I understand that I'm such a fan of the stock market. I nerd out with it. So Big Bear here. Yesterday, quarterly's garbage. I expected them to not make it, but I expected them to be like bad good. I was thinking Big Bear was going to at least hit like a 35, 36 at least. Hopefully that was like my Goldilocks zone million, but they did not. I mean, it was they came out with just 18% less than what we thought they were going to do. So, but thank God, I guess if we can make any good news out of that is that their cash flow is really good. And second of all, at least they stayed in this $30 million range, quarterly range. I mean, I guess it could have been worse, but still, it's nowhere where we want to be here. Now, the shocking surprise of the day here was that Big Bear really, I mean, obviously the market opened and Big Bear pre-market was like, oh boy. I was expecting Big Bear to easily stay in this $4 range today. I was like, well, this might just be the new position here for a moment. But I mean, it just 940, it rolled up to 531. So I was like, okay, well, we're back in mid $5 range. Then slowly but surely throughout the day, by the noon, we were, at 556, and then towards the end of the day here, we were back in the $6 range, low $6 range. But still, what does this mean? I think that's where a lot of people are going. Like Big Bear is defining a lot of odds, and obviously too, I'm hitting a lot of different emotions when I talk about Big Bear and when I say certain things. So, my next comment on Big Bear right now is that it's manipulated. It's a highly manipulated stock for one reason. Because yes, there's somewhat, you could say it's a meme stock. It's still being pushed in that, and there's money to be made in meme stocks, 100%. But two, with that is that obviously there's still the thought that Big Bear could just get more government contract deals. That's what we want. That's the fairy tale story. That's what we're looking for here. So could that happen? Sure. Hey, we're hoping. But two, more than that, I want to see Big Bear get more deals, airport deals, just random deals in general. They need money. They need capital ASAP. And for God's sakes, I really think this is important. I've talked about this, but I won't talk about it long, but I really wish their new CEO, Kevin, would talk more and just be more open in just talk to investors. If anybody knows Kevin, tell him to loosen up and start talking. It's hard because there's companies that you invest in, even something like SoFi, great CEO, very just open talk, so good at giving interviews. Palantir, Alex, I mean, what can we say? I mean, that's the golden goose right there. I mean, just he can yap his mouth. Fantastic. Kevin here, Kevin is new at the CEO position, and I don't know, some CEOs are just stiff as a board and they don't talk, and Kevin is one of those. And I don't say this to be mean, so if Kevin hears this, I highly doubt he does, but just talk to us, for God's sakes. Give it, make people feel comfortable. Talk about where you're wanting Big Bear to go. What is your thoughts with Big Bear? Give us little slivers. And that's one thing that we've seen Alex do for the last year now with Palantir, where he's giving these little breadcrumbs of like, this could be happening. This is where we're focusing. This is maybe what's happening. We're partnering with this that could lead to this. There's been a lot of those, breadcrumbs that we followed with Palantir for the last year. This isn't me going like, well, Big Bear's just never going to get another deal. This is just the end. No, I don't think that at all. I think Big Bear's going to get more deals. Obviously, I think we're just in the genesis stage of where Trump is going with this spending, all this defense spending stuff. I mean, even the stuff he was talking about in DC this week. I mean, there's going to be more money pushed into that too. So, Big Bear is going to find, and I'm not trying to talk politics, for God's sakes, but what I'm trying to say is, as an investor, I'm trying to follow the money. I'm trying to go like, where are they going here? I do believe Big Bear will continue to push into more deals, okay? I wish I could sit here and say that, hey, they just signed a contract for X amount of money. I hope to make that video one day. I really do. I hope it's soon. Obviously, Big Bear wants to make more money. Big Bear wants to do better numbers. I truly believe that. And it's an obvious comment here. If Big Bear wasn't already a part of, the defense sector of our government, I would care less about Big Bear. I could care less. Yeah, they've got some good contracts with these airports, some other little partnerships here or there. Not much at all. But if they really didn't have what they had going on with these government contracts, I wouldn't really be here talking about it. I really wouldn't. Yeah, it's unique. It's got some really good software that's probably going to keep advancing into the future, and it will find a place and time in this market that's being built into this future with tech stocks. It'll be a part of that regardless with these defense stocks or not. It'll probably continue into, other realms of business. But, right now my main focus in the hot card in my deck of cards right now when I look at Big Bear is that it has those defense contracts and that it could get more, and that's what we're hopeful for. But obviously the other things that's attached to, I hope those compound. I hope they continue. So that, I know that's in the back of a lot of investors' minds because I'm talking to investors, I'm talking to my friends, I see people's comments, and for the people that are in here just completely pissed off and saying all this, man, I get it. I get it. If you've heard me yap my mouth here about Big Bear, I've been in here time and time again, so much so that people would get mad at me. They'd be like, why are you saying such negative things about Big Bear? I've said negative things about Big Bear in the past a lot because it's still looking for money. It's still looking for concrete pillars to really build on here. But it's had a lot of business here as of late, and I hope it continues. So I'm curious to see what Big Bear is going to do. This, to me, this is shocking. This is shocking that Big Bear is back up in this $6 range here. I mean, Big Bear closed today right under $6, around that $5.86. But before the market ended today, it was back in a $6 range. If Big Bear can survive in this high $5, middle $6 zone, that is very impressive. And today, actually, a few articles came out where they were like, Big Bear, we're still watching it. They talked about the negative, but, we have Big Bear at a $5, $6 range, and that's kind of where we're seeing Big Bear right now. So Big Bear might just survive in this range and still maybe on a really good market day, Big Bear can really shoot up into a high $6 range. Who knows? But right now, we're watching the dust settle. I don't know where it's going to land. I'm very curious. I am completely shocked at where it's doing, where it's playing at right now. Today was such an example of that Big Bear is a lively stock. It's just a lively stock. That's why I'm like, why would I not talk about Big Bear? It's still such a, listen, I am a fan of the market. I am a fan of stocks. Okay. I look at stocks different. I look at companies different. I obviously I like to make money off these things. I like to, build wealth in them, but I'm very curious of how the algorithms and the attractions, the FOMO, how things work in the market. You're learning a lot from Big Bear too, the stock itself, how it works here. It's teaching you something, how investors react to it, how different groups of investors are reacting to it. Somebody put a poll on StockTwits today about Big Bear here, and they said, now that the quarterlies have come out and they've showed weakness, what are you doing with Big Bear? It was like, are you selling? Are you buying? Are you holding? Are you something else? But something negative. But the vote, the almost 60% vote, was that people said they were buying, and it was like 1,000 some votes. That was shocking to me. So right now, I think a lot of people are still on the same page where they're like, hey, I'm going to ride this out. I'm going to see what's happening. I'm not asking anybody to sit here and, sit here with me with Big Bear. I get it's a very unstable situation, but maybe something might happen here. I think you're just fishing right now with Big Bear. I think, we're casting out here and we're just sitting here and we're waiting for more deals. We're waiting that something more could happen here. So that's really where I'm at with Big Bear. I'm going to talk about Big Bear. Of course I'm going to talk about Big Bear. If somebody doesn't want me to talk about Big Bear, you don't have to be here. I appreciate you being here, but you don't have to be here. I'm not telling anybody to buy Big Bear. It's an interesting situation, okay? If I stop talking about Big Bear and they get another deal a month from now how's that going to, how am I going to feel about that? because I'm still looking at Big Bear, but I'm not talking about it, then people are going to get mad because like, why weren't you talking about Big Bear? Well, a few people are mad at me. I get it, man. I get it. People, I get it. Let me chug this coffee and let's talk about Palantir. Palantir. Okay, Palantir. What did Palantir close after hours here? I didn't even look. It kind of, let's see. What was the last little... What are you doing, Palantir? What are you doing? Good grief. I mean, this stock is just ridiculous. So today, Palantir had another amazing day. And, right now we've hit this wall. This is so funny to say, but we've hit this wall with Palantir at this 186 zone. Now, the question is, will Palantir break into 190 this week? Potentially, maybe. There's still some reports this week. There's still some stuff that's going to come out. I don't know that it will sink the market. Today was pretty much the day. So the market's like, okay, well, we're just going to roll from here. Palantir undoubtedly is, the complete opposite of Big Bear. It is just completely in this fantasy world right now with a lot of investors. It is, it is the, knight in shining armor for a lot of us here. The question right now with Palantir, I think a lot of people, I was even talking to a buddy about Palantir here today, and I have a buddy who was like, I want to put more in Palantir, but I'm kind of like, I don't know where to buy in right now. That's what he was saying to me, and he was asking me what I thought about it. Where is a good place to buy into Palantir? And I was like, I don't know. The thing right now with Palantir is, last week we had the quarterlies come out. Obviously, they broke into $1 billion quarterly and some change, and they've already raised up revenue again, and they're going to probably continue to do that. We really don't even know how much money Palantir is going to end the year with because they keep getting deals before each quarterly, so it just keeps compounding on top of each other with these last deals, part of the last deals. So, we don't know what the final number is going to be, but it's going to be huge. So Palantir is just in this growth stage right now where investors, it's just a feeding frenzy. And yeah, I get you have to pay a lot of money to be a part of it because it's a unique situation. It's expensive. The dip right now with Palantir, even though we're still seeing fighting going on with it, where it's trying to get to this 190, 200, I would say, can we dip to 160, 150? It's going to take a bad day in the market. It's going to take a real bad day in the market. Now, I suspect we'll have a bad day here in the market. I suspect that some article will come out here. Some articles will gang up together on Palantir and say, well, Palantir really should be a $130 stock, $150 stock. And it could trigger some, weaker hands to sell off Palantir here. No offense. But, and people get where they want to take money. They're like, well, I got a lot of money wrapped up in Palantir right now, and I see this other shiny diamond over here. I want to buy that, and they walk away from it. There's plenty of people that sold out of Palantir around 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, and they haven't come back because they're thinking, well, maybe it'll sell down. Maybe, but a lot of those people too thought that Palantir would sell down to like 120, 110. It didn't. Friends, I think regardless, if Palantir, and this is for the person that's negative about Palantir, this is for the person that's like, I'm not paying this amount of money for Palantir. This is stupid. I'm not doing this. I am still buying Palantir in another portfolio. But the reason I'm buying Palantir at this high of level right now, because I'm looking at Palantir for the next 5 to 10 years, that it's going to keep growing. We haven't even had a stock split yet. There will be a stock split at this rate with Palantir, with this ridiculous growth we're seeing. As long as they keep finding deals, all this new business, revenue, becoming a very just ridiculous moving stock right now. Probably one of the most popular stock in the whole market right now. And everyone's wanting to buy it. So with that, if this wasn't the conversation with Palantir, if Palantir wasn't so heavy inundated into the Trump administration, and obviously too, I want to break this up. I know that Palantir was already in, working with and for our government defense sector before Trump. I know that, but now it has quadrupled. Okay, now they're even more in it. So if it wasn't this intense, plus with that, Trump spending insane amounts of money on tech, software, defense, and those are all in one big bowl of cereal here. I would go, well, I would imagine Palantir is going to hit a pretty big wall here around 190, 180, and we'll probably sit here for quite a while. I would admit that, but the problem with me saying that out loud and even trusting my own self saying that right now is that I'm lying to myself if I say that. I'm lying to you, because what have I seen here for the past year with Palantir? Every time I doubt Palantir, I'm like, well, they can't get any more deals. The stock can't go anymore. They get more deals. They execute quarterlies beyond belief. They're so inundated into this administration that, Trump could give an interview next week where he talks about Palantir again. That's why I go, this could just keep going. Why couldn't it? We've seen ridiculous things in the market before. There's always things in the market. There's always trends in a bull market, in a market in general, but a bull market especially. Last year it was NVIDIA. Chip stocks, chip makers were just, that's what we were obsessed with last year. This year it's defense, it's security. Palantir is in that conversation. So it might continue into next year, more than likely, the way things are going. So, this is why I look at Palantir and I go, well, I don't really know how intense the dip could be here. Maybe the dip is just in the 160s. That's pretty sad to say, in a good way. It's pretty sad to say that, it's crazy to say and sad to say that we may never see Palantir in the 140s, 150s again. That's pretty crazy. Now, obviously, there could be a tidal wave coming here in the market. Obviously. Who knows? Maybe there will be. Well, I wouldn't mind a bad day in the market at this point. I think a lot of us have some spare cash. We're like, I would like to buy some things, but the market's a little high right now. Friends, this is just uncharted waters right now with Palantir. Palantir is a hot stock. You have to realize you're not only buying one of the hottest tech stocks, defense stocks, because that's kind of where it's at right now, but it's one of the most popular stocks in the market right now, alongside with like NVIDIA, Meta. It's Apple. It is one of the most popular stocks in the market, and that will probably continue into next year, and God knows how further, much more into, the market. So listen, I'm just a fan of Palantir. I'm just sitting here looking and watching just like the rest of you. There's sometimes like you just don't have answers. You're just like, listen, it's just a good situation. It's just working out. It's just working. That's all I can tell you. But the future, I think what it holds here with Palantir is that what has been happening is going to continue to happen. And there's going to be things that will be attached to that will be even better than what we can expect at this point. Like stock splits. Maybe that's coming. More than likely that's coming. You're already seeing articles. That's already being talked about, interviews, that Palantir is probably going to have a stock split here within a year's time. Imagine 2026, August of that year, next year at this time. What is Palantir going to be at? Where are we going to be at quarterlies? Are we going to be in, $1.8 billion quarterlies? Are we just going to swing up to $2 billion quarterlies and some change by this time next year? How much more aggressive are earnings going to get here? That's a big question. Are we going into $1 trillion market cap faster than we can imagine? Tech is bringing in so much money at such a fast rate. That's why we're saying, that's why these people that are on Wall Street, Tom Lee, Dan Ives, all these people, they're saying, yeah, actually the S&P, it's kind of undervalued for what we're seeing right now. We have NVIDIA just became the most wealthiest company in the world, for and some change $1 trillion market cap. Yeah, things are going to continue to go up here, undoubtedly. And NVIDIA, by the way, they're not going to miss earnings here. They're still making unbelievable money, and they can't make enough chips at this point. And by the way, they're trying to make chips here now, so it's just going to continue. And tariffs will have their moment, and then we'll see how this all works out. But undoubtedly, this is a situation where it's just money is just pouring in at unbelievable rates with these tech stocks, and Palantir is just its own story right now. So, friends, Yeah, I don't think it's pretty. I don't think it's crazy to say that Palantir is going to end at $200 this year. You know, it's only August and we're $20 away at this point. I think the question is, where at in the $200 range are we going to end this year with Palantir? We've still got two quarterlies, one quarterly really in this year, for 2025 and 2020 Q4 for this year will probably come out in late January, but still, where are we going to be? It's going to be a really good Christmas, I can tell you that right now. And just to talk about SoundHound here a little bit. So, SoundHound, I mean, man, it's a dark horse. I'm telling you, I've been preaching about this. I've been with a bullhorn in my hand here for a while now. It's just a dark horse. It just comes up out of nowhere. That's what a dark horse is. So I'm so in awe of this stock. And once again, just like, this is amazing. It's like, gives me goosebumps of what's going on over here in SoundHound land. So obviously, long story short, I don't want to sound like a broken record, even though I'm sure I do. Quarterlies came out with SoundHound here Q2, and it was the biggest quarterly. They broke records once again, and it was over $40 million in revenue. Now, that's not a lot of money for a lot of tech stocks, but nonetheless, that is a lot of money for SoundHound. I mean, imagine if we could have got that quarterly for Big Bear. Oh, baby. But SoundHound here has taken the win. Okay, it is won. It is looking for a bigger run. We've seen SoundHound in a $20 position. I'm not shocked to see SoundHound do whatever at this point. The only thing that I would be shocked about with SoundHound is that it sells off under $10. I don't know that that's coming. I think SoundHound has said, hey, I am in this new teen position, and this is kind of where I'm going to be right now, and I might even move further than that. There's a lot of expectation what's going on here with SoundHound. Even though Q1 for this year was lacking a little bit, it told us something. It told us that if that's the worst we can do for this year with quarterlies, it's going to be okay, because we were still in this $30 million range here with SoundHound. SoundHound is making more money than it's ever made before. So the company undoubtedly has money in the bank, paying off debt, pushing into their technology. This is a fantastic, just a boost for them as a company. And the stock is reacting to that 100%. Investors are in here getting a part of it, getting into it. It is undoubtedly just, it's a very lively stock. It's been a good stock. This has been a good stock to me and a lot of people here since last year, when SoundHound really got moving. Back in like October, November of last year. Even this time last year, SoundHound was like a $4 or $5 stock, and then those quarterly start to come out, and it's just like another process repeating itself. So, yeah, I think SoundHound is destined for really good growth here, undoubtedly. If they continue into this path of $40-50 million quarterlies, this is going to be a very interesting play. Very interesting play. I mean, imagine, and this is all what if, because we're such in a new zone right now with SoundHound with this revenue. SoundHound can't even answer this question. Will we see SoundHound continue just to grow on quarterly? So let's say like Q3 comes out here with SoundHound, and it doesn't meet quarterlies, but still maybe it just hits like $38 million in quarterlies. Maybe it's under $40 million in quarterlies. Well, still, that's really good, because it's telling us SoundHound's just in this whole new stream of revenue. It's keeping it. It's still getting business. It just got another deal here not long ago. And this is a whole new stream of revenue. So it's still going to keep the stock at these levels regardless. But flipping that flapjack around here and eating it, I mean, imagine if, SoundHound comes out with an even bigger quarterly for Q3. Holy smokes, we're pushing into some ridiculous stuff here. I mean, just cuckoo levels. Friends, I cannot thank you enough for being here. I hope I didn't hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm not trying to by any means here, but I get everyone's comments. I get where everyone's at. I try to get to everyone's comments. There's just so many, and all the stupid bugs in there that I've tried to get rid of, but everyone's dealing with them. Friends, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to report the good news. I'm going to report the bad news. Okay. I really am. I'm going to be here. I love talking about stocks. I love talking about the market. I love talking about just, situations that we can grow from, learn from. This is investing. There's good days, there's bad days. Today was a good day. Saw a lot of life in our stocks that we've been talking about. SoFi. Oh my God, SoFi. Friends, take care of yourself, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.